Sergeant David Keller muttered under his breath. A worthless black ape, his hand resting on his belt as he approached the park bench. Sir, I need to see your ID. Elias Vance, Deputy Director of the FBI, looked up from his book, Invisible Man. The late summer sunlight filtered through the oaks, tracing patterns over his page. Is there a problem, officer? Routine check. You've been sitting here a while, Keller replied, scanning the park filled with joggers and families. Elias, dressed sharply in a charcoal suit, was the only black man there not exercising or working. I'm reading in a public park, Elias said calmly. We've had reports of suspicious people casing the area. You fit the description. The stares of nearby onlookers began to settle on Elias. He'd faced terrorists, spies, and heads of state, but this quiet humiliation cut deeper. What description? He asked evenly. Black male, medium build, well-dressed, taking notes or watching. That's you. Elias held his composure. That describes half the city, officer. Slowly, he reached for his wallet. Keller's hand flew to his gun. Slowly. Don't move. I'm retrieving my ID, Elias said, steady and deliberate. Keller took the license, frowning at the Georgetown address. A rich black man sitting alone for hours? Suspicious. What do you do for work? Keller asked. Government service. What kind? Federal law enforcement. Keller snorted. Yeah? Show me your badge, then. Am I being detained? Elias asked, his tone professional. That question snapped Keller's control. Stand up now. I haven't broken any law, Elias said, still seated. The park grew tense. People began filming. Keller yanked out his cuffs. You're under arrest for obstruction. Elias rose slowly. This is a serious mistake. The cuffs locked with a cold click. He had sworn to defend the nation. Yet today, he was seen as a threat within it. In the patrol car, Keller kept glancing back. You want to tell me what you were really doing there? Who were you meeting? Reading a book, Elias said. No one reads that long. I work long hours. I don't get much time off. What kind of federal work? Keller demanded again. Elias didn't reply. He knew what would happen once Keller ran his name. You made a mistake, officer, he said quietly. No, you did, Keller shot back. At the precinct, Keller led Elias in, triumphant. Got a live one. Obstruction, resisting, he announced. Sergeant Maria Sanchez eyed the man skeptically. Name? Elias Vance. Address? He gave it. Occupation. Federal employee. Keller laughed. Says he's FBI? Sanchez typed. The system beeped. Her eyes widened. Deputy Director of the FBI. Top secret clearance. Presidential appointee. She turned pale. Keller, she whispered, come here. Now. Keller's confidence drained as he saw the screen. That can't be right. Sanchez was already on the phone to Captain Sarah Riley. Minutes later, Riley stormed in. Mr. Vance, I am Captain Riley. There's been a serious mistake. Indeed, Elias said, still cuffed. Officer, remove those cuffs. Riley barked. Keller's hands trembled as he unlocked them. Elias rubbed the red marks on his wrists. Captain, I'll be making several calls. This will be reported to Director Stone and the Attorney General. Riley's voice faltered. Of course, sir. The phone is yours. The room was silent. Keller stared at the floor, his face pale, the weight of his arrogance crashing down. Elias dialed, his tone steady as he began to explain the incident at Oakhaven Park. The same composure he used to brief the president now filled the small precinct room. Riley stood frozen, realizing this wouldn't end quietly. Elias ended the call and met her eyes. I'd advise an internal review, Captain. Today could have gone very differently. She nodded, unable to speak. Keller's lips parted, trying to form an apology, but no words came. The quiet hum of the station filled the air as Elias walked toward the exit. The officer stepped aside, the weight of his authority now undeniable. Outside, the evening sun glowed gold through the trees, the same light that had dappled his pages hours ago. Elias paused, looking back once, not with anger, but disappointment. In a nation he helped protect, his dignity had still been put on trial. He slipped his hands into his pockets and walked away, each step measured, his mind already drafting the report that would echo far beyond that small precinct. Elias called FBI Director Ava Stone, who confirmed federal investigators would arrive within the hour. Captain Riley led a trembling Sergeant Keller into her office, fury radiating from her voice. Explain how you handcuffed the second-in-command of the entire FBI. Keller stammered. He matched a description in recent robberies. Black male, well-dressed, surveying the area. That's it, Riley snapped. That's your probable cause? His skin color and reading a book. He was evasive, refused to comply. Did he commit a crime before you arrested him? Obstruction of police business, Keller mumbled. By reading, Riley demanded. The phone rang. Riley answered, listening as Director Stone's sharp voice filled the room. I want to understand how a deputy director of the FBI ends up arrested in a public park. Expect federal investigators within the hour. This is now a civil rights matter. The line went dead. Riley turned to Keller, pale and defeated. They're coming from Washington. You're finished. Get a lawyer. 3 weeks later, Keller sat in a federal courtroom, facing civil rights violation and unlawful arrest charges. The FBI presented high-definition video, eyewitness statements, and Keller's own poorly written report. Prosecutor Sarah Kim faced the jury. Sergeant Keller arrested Elias Vance for one reason: the color of his skin. This wasn't policing, it was prejudice. Elias testified with calm dignity. I asked the officer if I was under arrest. That's a lawful question. His response was force. Keller took the stand, voice shaking. I thought he was suspicious, ma'am. What crime did you observe? Kim pressed. None. So you arrested him because he was a black man reading in a park? Silence. 2 hours later, the jury returned, guilty on all counts. Judge Patricia Williams sentenced Keller to 18 months in federal prison, stripping his badge, pension, and reputation. His 2 decades of authority collapsed in 10 minutes of racial bias. At the federal facility in Pensacola, Keller volunteered in the library. He read about systemic racism, bias, and the Constitution, books that forced him to confront what he had become. Slowly, painfully, he began to understand. Meanwhile, Elias Vance, elevated to FBI director, launched sweeping reforms, mandatory bias and de-escalation training across all agencies. His leadership transformed national law enforcement culture. 9 months after release, Keller worked long shifts in a warehouse, his pride replaced by quiet repentance. On weekends, he served at a food bank, helping those society forgot. 2 years later, outside a downtown coffee shop, he spotted Elias. His heart raced as he approached. Director Vance, I know I apologized in court, but I needed to say it again, in person. I was wrong. Completely. Elias studied him, the arrogance gone, replaced by humility. How are you, David? Getting by. Warehouse work. Community service. Trying to do good now. And what have you learned? Elias asked softly. Keller met his gaze. That I spent 20 years treating citizens like enemies. I wasn't protecting the law. I was protecting my prejudice. Elias nodded. That realization, David, is the first step to change. 5 years later, Elias Vance stood as one of the most respected FBI directors in history, driving major reforms and symbolizing justice reborn. Keller, now a case manager at a community center, helped former inmates rebuild their lives. The pay was small, but the purpose immense. One morning, Keller received an envelope from the FBI director's office. Inside was a formal letter offering him a consultant role in a new national police training program, teaching recruits about civil rights, de-escalation, and accountability. The position requested his unique and hard-earned perspective. Keller stared at the letter for a long time, the weight of his past pressing against the fragile hope of redemption. Outside, the city thrived, diverse, alive, and full of second chances. He picked up the phone and called the number on the letter. Yes, he said, voice steady. Director Vance, I'm honored. When do I start?